So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where Northern and Southern Europe go to war. Now recently I did a video where Eastern and Western Europe went to war, and that video did pretty well. You guys liked the idea. So today we're going to be doing the same thing, except we're going to be flipping it vertically and doing North versus South. Now, this map looks a little bit weird, and I know it does because it's weird seeing Europe split up like this. I know a lot of you could probably argue that some countries should be on different sides. Like you might say that Czechia should be in Southern Europe, or Germany should be in Southern Europe, or you could say that France should be in Northern Europe, as well as Austria, Slovakia, and Ukraine. I know, but this is probably the best I could come up with because of just like I don't really know where to split it at. If we split it with Switzerland, that would include France, that would include Switzerland, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, and Ukraine, and that would be way too powerful. But if we do it any other way, then the red team will be losing countries, and we don't want that. So basically, this is it. This is really the best that we can do. You might be able to make an argument that France should be on the red team, and that isn't too horribly off balance, but I think personally that if France is on the red team, then that's way too much power for them, whereas this is a little bit more balanced. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. All the support really helps us out. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the scenario. So the red team is going to be the attacking team, which means they are going to get the land first, and with this they're going to go ahead and attack France, the strongest member of the blue team. We have German and lowland troops going in over here from Belgium, and once they're in, they're going to go ahead and go in over here through the Rhineland. This is a very similar tactic to World War II, and it appears to be working once again, but this is mostly because France is a little bit in a pickle right now. I just gotta look at some stuff online that involves France, and it doesn't look like they're doing too healthy over there politically. So yeah, maybe France could be seeing the sixth republic soon, but I doubt it. But yeah, Germany and its allies are quick to take advantage of a not paying attention France, and they're able to get pretty close to Paris, which lies right about there. We have some killing off of French troops over here in this area until one solid straight line is created as a front line. From here we see the UK make landings along France's northern coast, and from here they meet up with the Germans and the lowland countries. But now we finally see the French military start to defend itself, and they are stopped just outside the gates of Paris. Elsewhere we see Belarus and Poland make an effort into Ukraine. Their goal is to take Ukraine out of the war, obviously, because it is probably the second strongest country, if not the third or fourth. Belarus instantly makes a little push over towards Kyiv, but they are stopped before they're able to take the city. We see Czechia go down into Austria, and Poland goes down into Slovakia. Of course, these two are working together, and right now the red team is in complete control of this war, but like I said earlier, they are the attacking team. And I just want to take some time real quick. If you don't want to listen to this, skip ahead a little bit, but just to talk about like the channel as of recently, like I don't know what to record. This has like never really happened to me, where I just literally can't think of anything that would do decent, because I don't want to post Empire videos. Those don't work. No one really watches them, and there's no like popular countries that do. I know I'm going in order, but still I want to keep the channel alive. Right now it's just kind of like plateauing. It's not dying, but it's just there. You know, I'd just like to keep it there and not go down with it. So I'm trying to put out videos that are at least entertaining, but honestly, I just don't really have fun with mapping anymore. And I've said this before, but you know, I keep forcing myself to put out these videos just to maintain the channel until I eventually get out of school here in a few weeks and fully commit to YouTube, which is looking forward to that. But for now, just maintaining. You know, I hired an editor not too long ago, and they've been doing a good job so far. It's kept a lot of stress off of me. But even with that new time that I have now, I still can't think of video ideas. Also, sorry for missing last Saturday's video. I was sick, also didn't know what to record, so I just didn't record anything. And also, we didn't really have time to really record or edit videos. That's for me and my editor. But hey, we're back, and we're gonna cook up a video here. So like I said, the red team is doing pretty well here, and they have gone ahead and they have done war. But the blue team can also do war, and we're gonna go ahead and see what they can do, which is a whole lot of pushing back the red team. Now, the red team is probably at its most popular spots over here in France, and then over here in central-ish Europe, with Poland being there, and of course Germany. The Nordic countries, I'm assuming, are going to go ahead and pull their troops down to the Baltics. Maybe Norway goes to Germany, but Finland and Sweden are both very valuable countries in terms of military. Finland has almost 1 million troops if you're counting reserve, and those millions of troops will happily defend Estonia, and then of course their allies down south going against the close to 2 million Ukrainian troops. Yeah, this is going to be a really bloody war if you haven't figured that out already. But France is doing a pretty good job at pushing back the red team here. They do manage to cut Britain off into two. Switzerland even does something, which is something that doesn't happen often in these videos. And that's really all the blue team does right now. They probably would be able to push back more on the other front lines, But right now, Poland, Finland, and Sweden are all loading up these guys, and Ukraine isn't able to push back just yet. But in the coming days, we see the red team do some stuff. Slovakia particularly is forced into surrender after being overwhelmed by Polish troops. From here, these guys start to leak down into Hungary, in which is able to defend itself temporarily. We see the war in Ukraine escalate, and as eventually we have Kyiv being captured after being hit by a bomb. This area is soon to fall, and Ukraine is not looking at its best. Now, in my videos, I do a pretty good job at keeping Ukraine alive. Is it biased because of the war? Maybe. Is it because Ukraine is actually a fairly strong country? Also, maybe. But in this video, they are looking too hot. And this is presumably because they've lost their major city, Kyiv, right away. Without a capital country is a little bit harder to operate. And of course, you're going to lose a lot of government officials when you lose a capital city, because all your government officials tend to be in the capital. We also see Poland push over and capture this city, which is spelled Lviv. Lviv? Okay, stop. I'm not gonna do that to myself. Kharkiv. I can say that one. Sevastopol and Odessa. See, I'm not completely dumb. So the red team is doing very well over here in the this area, the east. Whereas in the west here, France is actually starting to do pretty well at pushing back the red team. They meet up with Belgium and trap a bunch of British troops over here, and these guys are forced to flee. Pretty sure I've seen this in a movie and a real event. Over here in Alsace-Lorraine, we have them being pushed back into said region, but not completely kicked out, as Germany holds strong, using that impenetrable forest that France likes to boast about. We have Ukraine pulling off a pretty impressive counter-offensive. However, it does fall short as they're unable to recapture Kyiv, but instead they do get to the gates of city over here. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Lviv.
I don't think that's right. All right, this. God damn it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. All right, so instead of focusing on my horrible pronunciation of everything, including saying words, these guys go here. Big red blob move south into other country, Croatia, split in two. Oh no, ocean time. So the red team has successfully met up with the Adriatic Sea, and with this, we have, well, them being split in half officially. The Balkans are now separated from Western Europe, and a majority of the power is going to come over here from Western Europe. Therefore, the Balkans might be screwed. Now, don't get me wrong, Germany and France are still playing war games with each other, and the UK is maybe bombing France's coastline and trying to make a landing, but this over here, losing this, is not good, because the focus of these three Nordic countries will then shift from here to here, and you do not want them going from here to here. Why is that? Because there's a hell of a ton of Nordic people here. And this is where the red team has the advantage. They are able to kind of just split off the red team or the blue team in the two places. You could argue the blue team could do the same thing by going up in Czechia and splitting Poland off, but that's a lot harder than just going through here. Geographically, maybe not, but you know, Czechia, Poland, and Germany are stronger countries than these guys are. Supply routes are going to be a little bit cut off, but not too much, because, you know, there's that right there, there's this right there, and also boats exist, so you can technically just do that. But supplies will just take longer to get from A to B, which, of course, is going to serve as a problem for the blue team. Time is very important in war, just like the timing of this counteroffensive. France sends all of its, well, not all of its troops, but a lot of its troops over towards Germany. And in an attempt to kind of flip the switch over here in Western Europe, they go into Belgium, take Brussels, and wipe the country out of the war, while also taking over Luxembourg. We have them pushing into Germany and starting to threaten some of the larger cities like Frankfurt, and they even enter into Amsterdam and take over the Netherlands capital. So that hurt, but this of course did take a lot of troops, and a lot of troops were moved around. And France's naval defenses have kind of been destroyed by the UK. We have British troops making a landing over here in Normandy, but they managed to capture the entire coastline from here. They move down towards Brittany, cut off that area from France, and slowly but surely take it over. Now this is going to be a majority of, if not all of, the UK's military. They don't really have much else to do other than bully France here, whereas France has multiple fronts to worry about, that being in Belgium, the Luxembourg, and Germany. So the UK does have the advantage there. Also, their military is a little bit larger than France's, if I remember correctly. So there's also that. Of course, their navy is going to be better because it's freaking British. So while this is all unfolding over here, we have an event taking place over here in Eastern Europe, and it is yet another counter offensive. Now there's been a lot of these in this video, and that's because this war is very strange. It is a very strange war, and if this were to ever take place in real life, which I'm pretty sure something similar to this has happened before, just maybe not with all these countries, then it would be it would be a weird war. Having the North going against the South, which, I mean, the North and the South are two very different regions of Europe, not just geographically, but also culturally, with, you know, Scandinavia being a region, we have the Baltics region, we have the I don't want to say German region, that sounds bad. The Balkan region, we have the Mediterranean region, Iberia. I mean, there's a lot of different like culture stuff. It's very diverse, but you can kind of link them together between north and south. Same thing with east and west. Europe is just a very diverse place. That's what I'm trying to summarize here. So I guess no matter how you divide it up, it would be a weird war. Anyway, Ukraine is going to go ahead and push back Belarus once more, this time meeting up with their front line, but still not being able to capture the city, as there's a hell of a ton of red team troops stationed in the city, attempting to prevent Ukraine from getting it back. Back down south near the Adriatic, we have the red team wiping out some more countries, this time being Slovenia, also Austria. They go into Croatia, take over their capital, which forces them into surrender, and the red team is having a lot of success down here in the Balkans. Once again, these troops down here are composed of these countries, so I mean it makes sense. This is a majority of the red team over here, whereas over here it's basically just the UK and Germany versus France and Spain. Not really sure what Italy's doing. I'm assuming it's probably splitting its troops, but they might want to protect their border because the Germans are right there. Anyway, it is now winter time and everyone is digging in. The blue team is going to drop a plan, and so is the red team. What the blue team wants to do here is probably get back that Adriatic coast, so Croatia and Slovenia. By doing that, they're going to reconnect a lot of trade routes and also like equipment routes. Military uses that, so it's kind of important. But they also are going to cut off the red team's access to the sea, and also, you know, that's going to disrupt some communication stuff. They want to kick the British out of northern France and also expand their front into Germany, taking Berlin and most likely ending the war. Now for the red team, it is somewhat the same. It's probably a lot easier for the red team to win this war right now because all they really have to do is get their hands on Paris and maybe take over like Venice, try to get Rome if you can, hold on to Kyiv, and then from there, honestly, just fight it out until the blue team eventually surrenders, because if you get those major cities, they're done. For the blue team, it's more complicated. Like I said earlier, they have to probably get London, they're going to have to get Berlin, which is safe over there, they're going to have to get Warsaw. I'd say they might even have to try to get Helsinki, maybe Stockholm, I don't know. Sweden isn't as strong as Finland technically, if we're counting reserves. So the blue team has a lot more to do, and they're a lot further away from completing that. So it is now springtime. Let's see what happens. The French counteroffensive goes extremely well over here in northern France, as they're able to kick the British almost completely out, but not completely, as they hold on to Brittany. As for their little thing that they wanted to do in Germany, it completely backfires, as Germany enlisted a lot more people during the wintertime, and France is completely kicked out of Germany and the lowland countries. Over here in the Balkans, we see their counteroffensive to try to kick the red team out of the Adriatic area go extremely well, as they're able to do just that. They reestablish Slovenia and Croatia and start pushing into Austria and Hungary. In Ukraine, it's a little bit of a stalemate. Nordic troops are able to help out Belarus in pushing back into Ukraine, but other than that, no more gains are made and no more loss are happened. Yeah, that made sense. So essentially what this war is a giant stalemate, except the red team has a little bit more to gain and the blue team has a little bit more to lose. The war in France doesn't really seem to be able to be won, but spoiler alert, just pay attention for the next few minutes. Whereas in the Balkans, it seems like the red team has the advantage, but at the same time, just the sheer manpower of the blue team is going to be holding them back a lot. And I don't really want to bring manpower into this too much, because when we're looking at Finland, as I said earlier, they as a base army have a couple thousand, but when you pull in the reserves, that's over 1 million. So, you know, yeah, that's a factor. That's a factor for every country down here. So I don't really want to get into that too much. But yeah, as it stands, the red team does technically have the advantage, and they want to end the war. But the thing is, the blue team does not. They think that they can push out the red team and even push into them and get land out of this war. It's not going to work. Spoiler alert number 2. Germans flood across Alsace-Lorraine and into France, as well as Belgians and Luxembourg people and the Dutch. France's northern coast is completely lost, and the people start to overthrow their own government, chopping off Macron's head. Am I gonna get in trouble for saying? Can I say that? Yeah, I could say that. It's freedom of speech. But it's not a threat. It's a fictional scenario. Anyway, Paris is captured, and the citizens kind of help the red team out here by chopping off more heads. Government officials are not safe. France starts to lose its coast, and Spanish troops flood into France. Geneva is gone. I guess that means nukes are okay now. But with the collapse of France, we have obviously Paris being captured. Troops are right on the border of Spain. Italy is technically, they're holding out, so they're doing okay. Kyiv is still under control of the red team, and now the blue team is starting to rethink that whole let's take the red team land, maybe we'll just try to push back. So that's exactly what they try to do. Spanish troops are actually pretty successful in pushing back the British and the Germans. The Italians not so much, but the Swiss do okay. The Balkan countries, they push into Hungary and retake their capital, basically liberating the country. The Romanians help out the Ukrainians, and Vienna is recaptured. So that's a pretty big turning point for this war to this point, but we do still have to remember that France is gone. For the most part, that is. And the red team is knowledgeable of this. Of course, they have the strongest country on the blue team under their control. Technically, they also have the second strongest under their control, but Ukraine is more of a freer country in terms of its citizens right now, because France is killing itself, technically. Did I mention rebels? France revolts against itself, and this is pretty much going to spell the defeat for France itself, as these rebels aren't aligned with anybody. So they kind of leak into Catalonia, and it's a domino effect now as Catalonia revolts from Spain. This is in essence going to pull Spain out of the war in order to focus on their own civil war, technically. And with that, that's ouchie. That did not feel good for the blue team. Spain was one of their stronger countries. Portugal is now essentially isolated, and that's going to go ahead and pull them out of the war, as they didn't really do anything in the first place. The other blue team countries, though, they're not allowed to leave easily. They don't really have a reason to leave, therefore they will not be leaving. But with these rebels breaking out, they're going to go ahead and not officially align themselves with the red team, but they're going to kind of help them out a little bit. And France is going to officially surrender over to the red team and the rebels. With this now, the red team is going to focus in on Switzerland and Italy, pushing through these mountains. We have Vienna getting recaptured, and the red team meeting up with the Adriatic Sea once again. Over in Ukraine, we have them pulling off their third counteroffensive, and this time it is their best. They actually managed to push the red team completely out of their country. And yeah, that's not good for peace deal talks. Elsewhere, though, it's great because Venice just got captured and the Italian troops are not doing what they should be doing. The exhausted red team or the exhausted blue team. Neither of these countries, or of course they don't want to fight. No one ever wants to fight a war, but when we're looking at the citizens, they're over it. France is gone. Italy lost its hat. Now it's just a leg. We have Austria barely surviving right now. I think they have Vienna. They might have Vienna. But in essence, this war is over. The red team has not technically run it, but they're going to get the majority of the land from the peace deal because the blue team doesn't have any gains. So let's go and take a look at said peace deal. All right, let's go ahead and break down this peace treaty here. Not too many changes because once again, the red team was only really getting land in Western Europe and the blue team never got any land anywhere else. Ukraine was able to talk its way out of losing any land, mostly because they were able to push back the red team at the last second. But going over here to France and Western Europe as a whole, this is where a majority of the changes are happening. So starting off with France, they're going to go ahead and lose a lot of their coast to Britain. And we have Belgium expanding into a blob. Luxembourg gets some land. They probably double in size. And Germany is going to go ahead and get itself Alsace-Lorraine. Now the rest of France is going to go to the new government, which was the rebel government. And from here, they're probably going to start doing some revolution stuff because that's what France does every couple years. Switzerland loses a little bit of itself. Italy loses itself. Austria loses a lot of itself. Czechia gains land and Poland gains land. Now, that's basically it. Hungary got this luckily for them. They didn't lose anything. Ukraine, once again, they didn't lose anything. So, in the next coming years, this is going to be primarily looking at the red team. There's probably going to be a lot of unifications. And I think this is probably going to lead Europe into like another pre-World War I era, which was like, well, there was a lot of countries, a lot of unifications, marrying, stuff like that. Countries unite into one, then grow bigger and then shatter. It's probably going to lead Europe into another one of those. More specifically, I can see that maybe Switzerland and France unite together. That's going to create some funky looking borders. Austria-Slovenia could become a thing, and this could eventually expand into Austria-Slovenia-Croatia, which at that point might just change its name into a different country. You could see a unification over here between these three, or a unification between like Luxembourg and France. If Luxembourg takes a turn in its policy, we could see Spain spit out Catalonia and then itself break down into a million other countries. Italy could do something because Italy always does something. The Balkans can break apart even more. That's right, these countries, which are already broken apart in horrible ways, could be broken apart into even more horrible ways. So there's always something that can be done here. But this war could shatter Europe officially, and that would be an interesting scenario, but not for this video because it's over 31 minutes now, and no one likes editing long videos. Am I right, guy? right, dude? Editor person. That's who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to the audience. You guys can go like sit in a corner or something if you want. But yeah, now I'm talking to you. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe, ring the bell, share it with people who are nerdy and like maps, and comment something. Just say like A or something. I don't care. All the support is greatly appreciated here on the channel, and of course, I will see you guys in the next video, which should be out on Saturday. If it's not out on Saturday, I'm dead. Officially, there's no other way around it. I didn't forget. It's not that I didn't feel like recording it, and it's not that I couldn't record it. It's that I'm dead. So, this could be goodbye, or this could be see you next time. And of course, thank you to all the super fans. This includes Patrick Clauser, Yo Moma Moma, Texan Cowboy Cheese, Kylie Speaks Plays, Poland Country Ball, Dimitri, DW Cool Dude, Nevada Garbage Trucks, Yakko, Soviet Ball, and Serminator. Once again, thank you guys.